something on Zoom, it can be, it can lose quality. I have found that like YouTube Live, at least it has some quality there, and it is a good backup. And you get a choice as well. You can always like stream it. Oh, it's Lorena. You can always stream it on Zoom. It can be publicly or privately. Like, so you get 3 options in YouTube. You can do it publicly, which everyone will see if you share it. You can do it unlisted, which they will only see if they have the link. So it's not like, you know, in your public YouTube. Or you can actually do it privately, which nobody sees. So it's, yeah, so there is a safe way where you can, if you ever want to record something and you just want to store it somewhere, because YouTube doesn't cost anything. It's like unlimited storage. You can always store it there. Anyway, all right. So chapter 5, who's read it? Let me see in the chat. Who's read it? Who's read it? Okay. Anyone read it? So 1, you read it, 0, you haven't read it. Let's see what we have. Oh, Jill has. Jill, yeah, kick us off then. Yeah. I know you're ready. You've got that smile.
Yeah, well, when I say I've read it, I haven't, I skimmed through all the stuff at the end.
Oh, yeah. On chapter 6 or 5?
5. I have not read chapter 6. I've read chapter 5.
All right, cool.
So,
well,
I've read the harnessing the wisdom of your body, and I've read through sort of what she was talking about, her experiences, and then I skimmed through all her ideas, because that's a lot of what I do anyway.
Yeah. You know what? Let's begin by just connecting with our body, because that's how chapter 5 starts. So yeah. let's all do that together. All right, so just a very, very quick exercise to reconnect with our body so that we know how we feel right now. So if you want to close your eyes, you can. This is just like a really quick relaxation thing. So starting with the top of your head, begin to notice any tension you may be holding in your muscles, jaw, neck, shoulders, lower back, legs, so on. Go from head to toe, slowly go down. Breathe slowly and deeply into any areas of tightness or restrictions. Releasing your jaw. Those jaw muscles. Release your jaw. And flattening your tongue if it's touching the roof of your mouth. Yeah. Lowering your shoulders. Lower those shoulders and rolling them back down. Rolling down your back. If they raised or hunched forward, let them relax. Releasing any tension in any other muscles. After your shoulders, take notice. Move down your body. Take a moment. Do you notice any shift or changes in your mental or emotional state? Just giving yourself this moment. Deep breath. Breathe in and out. Do you feel more relaxed now? Open your eyes when you're ready. How do you feel? Yeah. I think sometimes we're like so rushed, right, with everything, especially if you have like a host that just like starts a thing and like randomly is rushing as well. But like there's a noticeably shift, right, when we just like literally took like a minute just to take that breath in. How did you guys feel? Does anyone want to share? Did that help? What did you notice? Just physically or emotionally? Because I'll tell you what I notice. There's a lot of times when like I'm focusing and I just like go like this on my face. Like I'm just like frowning. I also notice my jaw muscles. I clench them a fair bit. And I can feel it from these muscles. Like this muscle, if I clench it, it's pretty hard. And once upon a time, I read this book that said like this is like the strongest muscle in our body. I'm not sure if that's true, but that's what I read. So yeah, I clenched this a lot. In fact, I do that so much before, not as much now, but before I clench it so much that I would grind my teeth when I sleep. So I don't know. But the science of grinding your teeth is that underneath, when you lift your tongue out, there's like two little bone that actually projects in because I grind my teeth. Does anyone actually know that? Do you know what I'm talking about at all? There's like no movement. I don't know if that's like a yes or no.
I understand about grind. My husband really grinds his teeth, and he actually has to have a mouth guard to stop him doing it. But no idea what you're talking about.
I don't know if you can see this. I know it's a bit weird, but yeah. Can you see that bone?
Yeah.
I used to do it as a kid. I don't think I do it
There's
anymore.
like the two bone that's like on the side. If you don't grind your teeth, it wouldn't be there. So that's actually a sign that you grind your teeth. Or it hasn't grown any bigger, but also because I stopped grinding it. But yeah, apparently if you grind it so much, it can actually touch. So random facts. Yeah, and I do notice like my shoulders. Like a lot of the time I'm like just have them more higher than they should be. They're not like relaxed. How did you guys feel when you were doing that? Were your shoulders relaxed or are they tense for you?
I felt them in my shoulders, like you said. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Someone is talking. Oh, okay. Yeah, I felt it on my shoulders, like you said, like the jaw as well. And I actually felt it on my hips when I was going down.
Yeah. What do you feel when
because I'm sitting, I know that I usually store a lot of stress in my hips because they hurt usually like a lot. And I noticed they were like clenched. So, like it's a part of my body that I don't have a lot of conscious. My shoulders usually because, I mean, they're like this and I have to straighten up, but my hips not so much. And it was good to notice that as well. Like consciously notice that. Yeah.
That's good. That's part of the body consciousness that like this thing wraps towards. Rita, were you sharing something?
I think it's more of my face. I felt like it was when I was doing it, like you say, it's here, and I'm trying to like, I can probably smile. Maybe it was more serious.
Yeah. That like expression, right? Like, yeah, and just relaxing that. That's why it's so funny. We used to like at work, because I used to work in this government place, and they're really big on ergonomics. So there'll be like this exercise that pops up on the side that forces the workers to like take a break for ergonomic reasons, right? So they introduce this app, and this thing would actually force you to stop work. And if you click like ignore, it like you can ignore it maybe like 5 times or something, and then you get to a point where you cannot ignore it. And it forces these like exercise on the screen. It will just like be blasted up on your screen and you're encouraged to do them. And they're really weird. They're like this. They want you to relax your face. So they go, pull a clown face. And you're like, what? Like the clown face in the carnival where you throw like the ball? It's like that. It's like, like they go, do this thing so you can like, and then relax your face. I'm like, yeah, that's pretty weird. I don't think anyone's doing that in the office. So normally you don't see people doing those ones because it's so weird, but like we would kind of stand up and like do like a little bit, like really awkward, like not quite fully doing things or like semi-doing exercise. Yeah. I'm sure they're helpful, but if you're working from home or you're at home, then maybe. All right. So, okay. So harnessing the wisdom of your body. So it's talking about you probably doing this quick exercise, you discover stress or tension that you previously haven't noticed. And a lot of us, we aren't that connected to our body. So you may notice, ooh, got some people in the waiting room. Let them in. Hello, Kathy and Leticia. Good to see you guys join us. You missed the little like relaxation exercise. That's okay. We were just talking about, so we did a little relaxation exercise, and then now we're just talking about reconnecting with our body. So to have physical and emotional safety, that security begins in our body. So until we can feel safe and secure within ourselves, how did Kathy go back into the waiting room? Okay, go let her in again. You know what? Since Stephanie is here, Stephanie, I'm gonna make you co-host. Can you just help me look out for the waiting room in case somebody pops in and I don't see them? I think she's there. Is she there? Yes, she can. Okay, thank you. So unless we feel safe in our body, we won't actually feel safe like within ourselves and be secured with other people. So many people aren't aware their muscles are like tense. We just go on with our day without realizing we have all this tension. That's why you see like modern days now, there's like so much like people doing yoga and introducing meditation and things like that. That whole mindfulness thing is just to get us to notice and being reconnected to our body, reconnected to like getting our thoughts synced up with our body. What is going on? So many people, even when they are feeling some kind of like tension, they don't even know how they feel. Like, it's like they could feel hurt, but they don't even know where that is coming from. Like, we're so disconnected from our body. So this chapter is about helping us just reconnect with our body. And this happens when we often felt unsafe when we were like kids. We didn't have like people to model off, people that we can confide in. Like, it took me ages to kind of reconnect with myself as well. I wasn't really in like a safe home. I didn't really have any safe adults to talk to. So a lot of my actions were like, I'm just taking the best course of action to give the greatest outcome for me in this household that I was living in, that I didn't feel safe. Like, I didn't feel safe at school because I was getting bullied. I didn't feel well, and I didn't know English. So I couldn't really communicate when I'm getting picked on either. And then I didn't feel safe at home. And I didn't have anyone to talk to. And at home was also like, I also felt threatened. So because there was like never an adult to talk to, most of my childhood was just like, I would just like listen to the radio and like some doctor chatting about like people asking questions, I'll be like listening to it. So I kind of like just learned stuff through that, I think, until I could like buy books later when I had money and things like that to try and like learn more. So just know that like where many of us gets disconnected from our body is due to like childhood things, or we just can't confide in people because we didn't have anyone to talk to. A lot of the times it's like we're not in a safe space to talk to people. That's why heaps of people, their family don't even know them. It's like your friends or someone might know you better because there's a certain things you don't feel safe to tell your parents, for example. So what is body consciousness? We're all aware we have the physical body, and we use it for almost everything we do, and generally know how it feels when we walk, sit, sleep, work out, have sex, hold hands, eat food, drink wine, run in the rain, dance in the snow, or nap in the sun. Many of us are conscious of our body's basic fundamental level. We're usually aware when we're hungry, thirsty, tired, sick, injured. Some of us may even be focused on our body's well-being and trying to eat healthy. exercise, get enough sleep, adopting the habits that we think can improve our body. But even those of us who are health-minded, though, are rarely body conscious or aware of how safe or unsafe we feel in our physical self. The term body consciousness, as she uses it in this book, does not mean a state of self-consciousness about or hyper-awareness of how our body looks, whether to ourselves or to others. Instead, it describes our ability to sense what's happening within our body. So for those of you who knows NLP or done some of that work with me, that also means, like, I don't know if you can see that really messy head behind me that I was talking to someone earlier, but it's the same thing. So this internal, your awareness within yourself, it's this world that we are faced with. We are bombarded with million, zillion amounts of information at any given time, right? Like whether you're seeing ads, whether you're seeing cars going by, whether you're seeing social media stuff pop up, there's millions of information flying at you, bits of information. So we can only grasp like 126 bits, or like 7 chunks of data, basically. So 7 chunks of data, plus or minus 2. So with this stuff that's coming into us, that comes through our 5 senses, right? This comes through us, it filters through us. What's within us, our body consciousness within, is talking about like our memories, our decisions, our meta program, our values and beliefs, our attitude towards things. So are you aware how you actually, your internal world, are you aware how you make these decisions? Are you aware what your values and beliefs are? Like, if you are not connected within this world inside of you that no one can see. And by the way, the problem is that a lot of people don't work on the inner world because no one can see it. Like, we would go buy the big house, we'll go buy the fancy car, you buy the handbags and shoes and whatever, because that's stuff that people can physically see. It's like material goods that are tangible that people can see. But what's going on inside us, that inner world, is the most important thing ever. There is no amount of outside stuff, no matter how much money you have. And Tom Bilyeu talks about this too. In fact, he spoke about it today. He was like, no matter how much money you have, he goes, no matter how much money he had when he was broke to when he finally made like millions and millions, because he's about $500 million worth, right? Those extra commas and zeros he saw in his bank account, he said when he opened and saw that, he's like, oh, that's funny. He still doesn't feel any different inside. So we can chase all of those things. And yes, we need money, we need clothes, whatever. We do need them. But at the end of the day, what matters is how we feel on the inside when we are by ourselves. When we are watching Netflix, we're just like watching a show and we're not even aware what's happening. When we're like surrounding ourselves with people, we're just doing the thing, eating, chatting, like drinking, whatever. We're like just in doing the activity of whatever it's cool. And we may do things we don't even want to because, you know, it's cool to feel like inclusive, right? But how do we actually feel when we are by ourselves? That's the only thing that matters. And that internal world is what we need to connect ourselves to. And this thing, why does it matter? Why does this internal world matter? Because that internal world has an impact on your mood or the state. Whether you're happy, not happy, angry, you're scared, that is your state. What emotion are you feeling? That emotion is tied to your physiology, so your body. That's why she's getting you to get an idea of like, are you tense? Is your muscles, are you clenching on your jaw? That's your physiology. That is what your body is telling you. because if you look at page, there was a table here, page 138, there are the major emotions. Whether you learned it in NLP with me or whether you are doing this page, those top 3 negative emotion is exactly the same: anger, sadness, fear. All right. So emotion of anger, that sensation. What are you feeling? What is anger? Like, I want you to like think of this like not from the perspective of like, yeah, of course I know what anger is. Like, yeah, of course, we know what angry people looks like, right? So I don't want you to think like that for a moment. I just want you to like go back to like zero, like go back to like ground zero. If you had to explain to an alien that's just come in and know nothing about us, what is anger? What is anger? Like, assume they don't know this thing and they go, what is anger? Right? So anger is represented by what? Anger is when you have muscle tension. Anger is when your face is flushed. Anger is when you have clenched jaw. You're throbbing. That cartoon representation is like the blood, it's like your veins popping out. It's like that. Something is throbbing, right? You're clenching your fists. You're elevating and you're talking really loud, right? Like anger, like what is that? What is that sensation? Something is happening when you're angry, right? Physically, something is happening when you're angry. So this thing is what you want to be aware of. Anger equals suppressed emotion. Yes and no. It can be suppressed emotion. So just answering the chat. It can be suppressed emotion where you don't feel like you can let out your anger. So you kept it suppressed, but it's not necessary, right? If someone just came up to you for no freaking reason and punched you in the face, would you be angry? Yeah, you'll be angry. Not because you have suppressed emotion. You're just angry because they freaking just punch you in the face for no reason. You're entitled to being angry. Right? Would my face be like tight? Would I be a clenched fist? Yes. Then yeah, what? Yeah, right. So suppressed emotion, sure, there's part of it. You hate someone in the chat saying you hate it when you're angry. Yeah. So when you are angry, you want to notice these sensations are coming up. And when you get really good with connecting with your body, you will catch yourself before it happens. This is why there's a lot of like the yoga meditation or mindfulness comes in. It is trying to get you to be alert before you actually get angry. Because you think about the moment you got angry, something happened before you got angry. You probably had a split moment where you decided to be angry or not. If you didn't, that means you're totally reactive. But there is a moment when you decided, if you at least have some emotional control, right? You thought if you should be angry and then you decided to be angry. Now, prior to this thing, before you even have to make this decision or during it, you will already notice. It's like if someone has pissed you off, what would happen? Even if it was minute changes, you probably would have clenched your jaw if someone pissed you off, right? Like something would change in your body when you're pissed off, right? When someone gets you frustrated, you're doing something in your body, whether your body is more stiff, whether your heartbeat has raised, something changed. When you notice that physical sensation change is when you should go, oh, I'm getting angry. I'm getting angry. I don't like it when I'm angry. I don't like when I'm out of control. I know that when I'm angry, I can say things that I regret. Okay, let's not get angry. I know I'm angry. I don't want to say anything because I don't want to overreact to the situation in front of me, right? You can catch yourself in that moment if you're sensitive to your sensation. So what you want to do is increase the sensation and widen your time gap for yourself so you can make a good decision. So like I was saying in that example, if someone was punching you in the face, I don't care how big my gap is, someone else is probably get punched in the face, or I'm definitely defending myself, right? In that moment. So it's not like, yeah, but if you didn't have to, then of course you probably make a wiser choice. Like if someone goes, give me your wallet, right? Like you can either try and punch them out, or like you can like, no way, or whatever, or you can think really smart, which is what I've been taught. This has never happened to me, but I feel like if I ever got into the situation, I would just throw my wallet as far as I could. Why? Because that would not be my logical thing to do, but they want the wallet. They will run after the wallet. At least I'm safe. Because I know my natural self will probably go fuck off and try to fight, which will not end up in a good place if someone have a knife, right? This is not being tough in the moment or like let your ego take over. It's about keeping this body safe. So don't do dumb shit, right? So things like that. So the more awareness or you thinking about things like things like that, then you are more aware of when things occur or similar situations. Then you go, yes, this is one of those situations where I just want to take a walk, where I don't want to say anything back because it's not worth it, right? So yeah, that's why noticing your sensation, and you want to know, like this table actually has like the message. So think about if we talking back to that alien, it's like, okay, then he'll be like, oh, okay, so this sensation represents anger. Yes. So when is someone supposed to be angry? Like when does anger occur? Like what triggers someone to be angry? When someone crosses your boundary. If there is an expectation, think about it. When do you get angry? Think about relationship as the easiest. People are only ever angry when you have an expectation and someone is coming in short. Right? They either not meeting your expectation, not meeting your needs, or they crossed your boundaries. Your boundaries have been violated. Right? So you want to know when it happens so you can or calmly make a choice on the best course of action. Right? So you want the whole point, like, and the whole point of NLP is always like increased choices. The whole point of success or life, same thing, right? It's to increase choices. What are we here to do? Like even people wanting money, loads of money. What are you really wanting? You're not wanting the money. You're wanting to increase your options. You're wanting to increase your choices, right? So, yeah. So have a look at that table. Is quite useful. So things like sadness. All right. What is the sensation of that sadness? Heaviness, low energy. Like you cannot, like, you know when you guys come into book club and stuff and you're like, I really like Hans because she's always high energy. It's like, can you imagine if I come into book club and go, oh, so how are you guys today? Like that low energy, like you cannot be sad and have high energy at the same time. It's not possible. This is not possible. Like when you are sad, you're talking slow, you've got droopy shoulders, you've got difficulty smiling. You've got difficulty smiling. There's like this ache in your chest or your stomach. Your tone is just so flat, right? Like those are the physical things. And I really know this because there was a phase in my life a long time ago when I was depressed and I wanted to get myself out of depression. And I'm kind of like a solution result driven person, right? So I'm like, all right, so I'm depressed. All right, so I'm depressed. I need to get myself out of this shit, right? How do I do that? I didn't know how, like I didn't have these tools. I didn't have these skills back then, right? So I'm like, how do I get myself out of this shit? So I'm like, okay. So I focus on physically, what can you do? And I know after observing and like doing some studies, I'm like, Okay, so there is no way a sad person is standing up straight and they're walking briskly. That just doesn't happen. So the moment you take that action, you already tricked your body into like, you're not that sad. Yes, for a moment you were pretending. I'll get your hand in a second, Elaine. But you cannot sustain physically in an energetic state and continue being depressed. It just doesn't happen. So I would start just like, okay, fine, I will walk straight. I am not happy, right? But I will briskly walk. And then I was like, I know this thing where like, I was reading all sorts of stuff, like, oh, if you tap your sternum like 25 times, supposedly it makes you better. I don't know if it's placebo effect or not. Anyway, so I was starting to do that. And then I was like, oh, okay, so to feel more centered, I can put my tongue like on the centered of the roof of my mouth. It's like, okay, that centers me, right? So I learned all these like physical tricks to trick myself to not be depressed. So I was training my body to do these things. Then somehow I got out of depression. So when I read these things, I'm like, yeah, it's true, right? Because like all of those things we were saying, it's like, you have to physically have these sensations and these physical things for you to actually be sad, for you to actually be depressed. You trained yourself to be that if you're feeling that mood. So what causes sadness then? What causes sadness? Loss. There's only one answer. The only time you're sad because you have a loss. You lost something. That could be a person, could be an opportunity. You've lost something. Whether for real or imagination. You lost something and that's why you're sad. So when you are in these states, the best thing you could ever do is to reframe that. So you might want to look into that, what reframing is. So we obviously teach the stuff in NLP, like how do you reframe it? There's always a positive way to see something. So there are certain beliefs that I think you should hold that really help you stay in this, that help you stay in a positive state or help you stay energetic, which is like, I always think of it like, you like, you know the saying that like life is happening for you? That's a really big one, right? Life is happening for you. So I always believe that whatever is happening, it's happening for a reason. I may not know what that reason is. I may not even know what that reason is till 10 years later. But as long as I believe that, then that means I'm accepting that situation is happening for a better reason. It may not feel good right now, but as long as you can clench onto something that this is for something good, retrospectively, because if you look at other things that has happened in your life, I can guarantee you can find that something has happened in your life before that you didn't see it as a good thing. And that only retrospectively you go, oh, okay, that was pretty good. Yeah. So one of my biggest one was like, I had a really shitty guardian that was really mean to me. But because of them, then I made the decision to make the money, to be successful, to go somewhere in my life. Like, I didn't need my parents to like grill me on my grades or anything. I had all the motivation because I didn't want to be looked down on. Did it feel good that when I'm living in that house or all those times when all the things they said to us? None of it felt good. Even when I think about it now, I'm not going to enjoy what they said, but did it give me a good outcome? Yes. Right? So some things I want you to trust no matter what is happening in your life. Life is always going to be up and down. Why? Because I just think life is always up and down because we will never know what is happy unless we experience sadness. So there has to be the up and down for us to even, how will we have any perspective? Otherwise life is just flat and it's boring. And that's not fun. Like it's literally just boring. And only a dead person will have like a flat thing going beep, right? So whatever's going on in your life, trust that you will ride it through. And that I always feel like one of my best friend from ages ago, she used to tell me this, and I just thought she was the craziest person, but I think she somehow subconsciously embedded that in my head anyway. She told me that, Comes, I think that life is always like balanced. And I'm like, what do you mean? So she was like, if like your whole life was like really shitty, like 3 times as shitty as that other person, somewhere later down the track, it'll be 3 times the amount of greatness. I'm like, all right, sure, whatever. Right? But I do, like, I think I still believe that up to this point. Like, if a lot of bad stuff happened to you, then a lot of good stuff will be coming. So then I don't want you to think, like I said, a lot of good things happen to us. Oh, no, maybe not. Maybe you already paid that back in some previous life. If your life is like awesome right now and you're like, shit, if some bad things, maybe not. Probably you're just having a really awesome life. Because maybe you had a bad life previous life. Yeah. I don't believe that whole, like, you can't do anything about like the whole destiny is like just fate. But I do believe that there is some kind of purpose or intention for you. Like you've been given a set of gifts as part of like your DNA and mixture and where you grew up, all of that stuff. You've been given some kind of gift. And I believe it's for us to find out what that is and use it for the good of the world. It's just that a lot of us get caught in the economic world of what we're told to do. So then we don't venture out and we just kind of like keep suppressing our emotions however we go through life. Like whether we're sad, whether we're like stressed, whether we're overwhelmed, frustrated, it's like we just got to put up with like all of this stuff. And then we don't want to feel it. So then we push it somewhere, God knows where. Then we get disconnected with ourselves. Then we don't feel whole. Yeah, there was a point in my life where I've just felt really hollow. Like I felt really empty. Like I didn't know who I was. And that took a long time to redevelop myself back. I just like ran on for so long. Elaine. Is Elaine here?
Yes, I'm here. Hi, everyone.
Hi.
Yeah. No, I'm just
You put
saying.
your hand up.
Oh yeah, because this is, I mean, all this is very, very familiar to me. Like for example, like all those breathing exercise, like usually we do it like all scanning through your bodies, So and the one that you mentioned about like all the emotion, right? So the emotion like anger and all these things, which like for us as an actor, there are 2 kinds of way that you can actually tap into. So which is like some like the one that you mentioned about like muscle tension and all these like flush face, all these are actually external, So but we also have other ways of tapping into like anger, for example, like from memories or from like things that happened before or something real that you can tap into. Yeah. So like for example, as an actor, like because like every time we have to show anger, doesn't mean anger you have to be always shouting or always like showing your muscle is tense doesn't mean that it's
could be a death stare.
Yeah. So all these are, sometimes it's just like, so basically I'm just saying that it's very familiar to me, and also just sharing that's all that
really makes sense. I love that perspective, Elaine. And because in movies, it's obviously those characters have to play those emotions out. So it makes sense, like from an actor perspective, how do we play our anger when we're not angry? It's like, what is that represented by for the audience to see this thing? So then you get very in tune to, these are the physical things that can happen, or this is the kind of eye gaze I have to do, or what does it represent? So you guys have it down to actor and actresses have it down to a T, because these minute things, it's what's get portrayed to the audience from a cinematic way. That's a really great perspective. Thanks for sharing that, Elaine.
Yeah, and also sometimes if one doesn't work, for example, if I want to portray anger, like sometimes like when I'm so used to using this method of using it, right? So another time it might not happen. So you must have like different type of tools that help you to trigger, to be able to be, whether it's anger, sadness, or frustration and all these things, see? So yeah, I mean, it's hard. Like, for example, you can't, like, for example, when you need to cry on cue, you know what I mean? Like, for example, cry on cue is like you can't force yourself to cry because it's fake. You can't, and if you can't cry, you can't cry. But it's, you know what I mean? But cry is one of the like the hardest, for actors, for example. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But so basically, so yeah.
I love that share, Elaine. And I've experienced that. I went to like actually went to some acting classes a little while back. Like I'm talking like years and years ago. And yeah, that sadness thing was exactly what we had to do. So we had to like act out the scene where we were sad. We were like, someone was leaving and we're like, like, don't go. Right? So then we were told to like go into sadness. And the thing is like, I was actually in tears. I'm like, damn, I'm so good at this. And because I could go into because you mentioned going into your memories. That's exactly it. So I went into your memories. It wasn't hard for me at that time because I haven't done all this work yet, right? I haven't done all this like cleansing work. So it was very easy for me to get into a sad state, to get myself into tears for the sake of acting. Because I'm just thinking about my poor childhood and we're letting people go, whatever. But this thing is really interesting because when we are going into our memories, what is happening, guys? When you're going into your memories, you're actually bringing up in your mind, this is not real life. You have to think about what is actually a memory. A memory is an embedded senses that you have put into your mind. So when you're picturing a memory, you've got an actual picture in your head. You've got a picture in your head of like a breakup scene or you losing something or whatever. Like there's a picture in your mind, a very vivid picture, so that you can cry. It's like you have to actually bring up this picture, probably along with kinesthetic feeling, as well as auditory. So what are you hearing? Did someone call you some name? Did someone talk to you in a particular tone, right? Like you have to hear that back, replay that again in your head, what they said, the way they said it, and the emotion you felt. And it is only when you feel that emotion, which are the sensations, only when you feel the emotions, will you be able to cry on cue.
A cry on cue has to be quick, not like it's 10 minutes for you to like think of the sad. It's difficult. It's not to say unless you are trained or you are, like some is not a problem. So it depends. Yeah.
And so it wouldn't be like, it's not abnormal that we see a lot of like popular people, actor, actresses that are really popular are actually like their own life internally has issues. It's like they almost have to be like, they have to hold on to these strong emotions to be a good actor and actresses, to be on cue. Like Elaine says, like you don't have 10 minutes to slowly get your tears out. Like to be really good, you should be able to flick it on. That means they should be able to feel all of those information, like emotion, what the information that's in the head, all of that stuff right away. Hopefully they can also get rid of it really quick. But you could bring it up and it like stays, right?
But memory is very dangerous. Basically, sometimes when you tap into it, you can't come out. So, like a lot of us, like because we do not want to, because like one method is called Strasbourg, which you tap into your emotion. Like for example, it can be anything like your grandparents die, or it can be anything like whichever. You can't tap into it every time, you know. I mean, sometimes you might not even feel it, but there's times that you know that you might not be able to get out from it. So which is that's why they do not want I mean there are a lot of like, you know, debates and controversial of like what should and shouldn't, you know what I mean, because there are so many ways into acting. Yeah.
Yeah, because I mean, you see, like we've seen it so many times. Like you can probably think of some of those famous actors that died, right? Like that they've gone so into character that they
Yes,
couldn't get back out.
like the Joker.
Yeah, exactly, right? Like getting into that character and you can't get out. It's like because you have like to play that, you have to actually tap into this sensation, this emotion. You have to feel it to be that thing. And at the end of the day, sure, you're doing a job as an actor or actress, but you're still a human. You're not a robot. You can't just tune in and out like that easily. And like and to stay in that character for a long time, that's difficulty, right? Because you got to think about these actors and actresses. Sometimes they do a movie for like ages, right? Like a whole year, or how long is a typical movie, Elaine?
About 1.5 hours in general, 1.5 hours to 2 hours, or yeah.
No, but like we see a movie for like 2 hours, right? But
Yeah.
behind the scene, like actors and actresses can stay on role for a
Yeah.
long time. It's not like 2 hours. Like each scene
They-
probably takes, you know, days and months, and some are like so long
Yeah.
to finish the actual film. So they stay in these characters for ages. And that does have psychological effect on people. So yeah, be careful what you you know, so many people, it's like they want to be popular, or they like look up to these people. It's like, oh, it'd be great if I was like a star. It's like, are you sure you want to be in that position? Do you even know how they feel when they are by themselves? You know, today I read this quote from Michael Jackson. Can't remember the exact quote, but he was like, most people don't even know what Michael Jackson is like. He's like, I'm the most alone person. So he do performance, he's entertaining people, but what happens? Like some of these guys are the loneliest people. They can't go outside. They can't just stroll around to shops like we can. We don't have the freedom of that. They will be swamped by people. Like they don't have, they've lost freedom to be that. And a lot of child stars have those problems. Like they lost their childhood. So yeah. So we should all be grateful for our life, wherever you are. Because for us, it's not always greener on the other side. Because we only focus on the bit that we see that is good. And we're like, oh, I wish I had that. But what about the other stuff? You got to take the other stuff. Okay. Jewel, do you want to share the best learning that you had for 5?
Well,
And
there
like
was a
time.
lot. I mean, I think it was more sort of stuff that I really highlighted that
Okay.
that's so important. So the first thing was how so many of us live our lives in our heads. I'm not saying now, this is me in the past, cut off from our physical self. And I think, is it Tony Robbins that says, if you're in your head, you're dead? So
Yes.
a lot of
He
quite
says that a
often, a
lot.
lot of people, if they're having issues, start with talking therapy, which is all in your head. Well, actually, they need to start in their body to really sort of feel their sensations and what's going on, because otherwise they're stuck in their head. That's
Yeah. Tony says that if you're in your head, you're dead, because so many people think we are logical people, but we're just emotional. We're just emotional creatures. As much as we like to think we are logical, we make most of our decisions like based on emotions. So by thinking in your head you're dead is because like you can be as logical as you want, but does that thing actually get you what you really want inside? So don't chase something for the sake of chasing it because it's like this meets a checkbox by your parents, by society, by whatever. When you get that thing, how does it even matter to you? All right. So don't get stuck in your head.
Yeah, but I think and this sort of emphasize, because I mean I think it's too, and this has been a massive part of my journey, is to to not get stuck in the head and go into the body, and that's where
Go
she's
into the body.
emphasizing start in the body. And for me, it's about, you've sort of talked about this, but I think there's a quote that sort of says that the space between trigger and response is freedom. And for me, you know,
Yes.
if you can increase that space, because so many people are trigger response. And if you can
Yeah.
increase that space, it gives you time, like you're saying, to really go, you know, why is it, you know, think about why is it happening? It gives you the freedom to respond in choice, to make choice and response. So it's sort of emphasizing what
100%.
you said before.
Yeah,
So
that was like the anger thing, right? Like that
Yeah.
space. Yeah.
So, and the other one is to be truly in our own presence, not someone else's presence. That was a really sort of big one. So many of us, especially people, I'm an ex-people pleaser. We're sort of living sort of, is it the, you know, that sort of, I'm not who I think I am, I'm not who they think I am, I'm who they think I am. You know, it's that whole sort of trying to be who other people want us to be, rather than actually being in our own presence, connected to our own bodies, and not being influenced by the outside world, which requires the space to take the time to down-regulate the nervous system.
Yeah. So if you haven't heard that quote, that is really talking about we are living in an echo chamber. So the thoughts, our environment, the people that we surround ourselves with, those thoughts are just being echoed back to us all the time. So then we create this identity of ourselves and think that this is who we are based on how others sees us. So if a lot of people come to us and go, "You're a kind person," we're like, "I'm a kind person," right? Like if they think you're mean, then you're like, "Okay, well, maybe I'm mean. Maybe I'm always a mean person," right? And it's reflective that way because we get cues from others. And how much you take other people's perspective to your own actually depends on your internal representation inside. If you are an internally validating person or externally validating person, or a bit of both.
Mm-hmm.
So how much you trust yourself and make your decision based on what you think, and how much you make a decision by asking external things outside before you do that. It's not good or bad. It's actually just knowing yourself, how you make these decisions. Like how many touch points does it happen? Like, and this will help you in all ways of life. If you have a business, it will help you with business. Why? Because let's say if someone needs like 56 times assurance, and this can go for business or relationship. I'm just gonna go with 56 because I don't know, it's random. Then that means they have to see you on social media 56 times or saw your ad that many times before they'll consider buying your item. Because that's how much reassurance they need. Likewise, in a relationship, if you told your partner, "I love you," you never said it again in your life, it's kind of not good enough. Like they'll be like, "So do you still love me?" You know? Like, or maybe they want to hear it every day, right? How many times is enough? Like, they maybe just keep seeking it because you haven't reached 56 yet. Maybe that's the number that they needed. So I'm not saying that's an exact number for everything, but there is roughly, you need to know how much validation is required by an external thing for you to feel loved, how much external validation for you to need to feel confident in somebody. How much validation do you need to, like, you know, buying and purchasing decision is an emotional one. So how many times do you need to see someone? How many times do you need to hear about a product for them to buy something? So all of life, you want to know this about yourself. Because if you didn't know this, and let's say you are someone that like, I'm currently fat and I want to be really fit, right? Did you try going to the gym 56 times? Maybe you gave up on 30 and you were kind of getting fat, you were halfway there and you didn't know. Like maybe if you just kept going for 56, like you would have stayed. You would have been fit after that, but you didn't, right? So you need to know yourself. This is the whole like finding yourself, like knowing yourself. You need to see. I'm probably completely going out of this book now, but you need to see, observe yourself from a distance to see yourself back, and then just make an assessment on yourself and going, what does this person want? What does this person need? And you want to give that to them. Let's do this. I know it's 9 o'clock. Do you guys want to do this meet your ego exercise? I'm just like seeing, like, I'm not really sure what that means. Know thyself, yes. All right. So, we should take a screenshot first in case someone have to go. There's not many faces here. Where's everybody? Can you turn your camera on so I can see you? By the way, when you hear Carms talk like that, that's like my other part. That's like the child part of me. Where's everybody? Gonzalo, Christy. All right, so I'm gonna assume the rest can't turn the camera on. So, all right, 3, 2, 1. Okay. I got it. I put it somewhere. Where am I putting it? I'm gonna send it to my WhatsApp. Okay. So let's do this ego exercise. I also want to say something before this ego exercise. Kathy, if you guys were following, for the people that was who was here last week? Kathy's like, yeah, there was. Okay, there's a few of us that was here last week. If you're watching the replay now for this one, Kathy was sharing something quite personal on the last one. So I actually think it would be really interesting to like follow through with her journey, because she shared some personal things, which she wants guilt removed, which I also want to remove for her. But whether we do demo, kind of depends on you guys, because demo takes a long time. Like demo will take the entire session. I don't know how long it will go for. Maybe in an hour, like maybe 20 minutes, maybe an hour, could even be more. Like, I don't know. But when I start an intervention, I don't stop, because I've never failed one and I don't want to. So that means it would it doesn't finish until it finishes. So that's why when it comes to intervention, I'm either doing a one-on-one, or I have to have like people's consensus that, yep, they want to see it, they want to be here, they want to witness it. And that requires some commitment. So I made a post to vote if you guys wanted to see the live demo. Like nobody said it, like nobody voted other than one person, which was Suzanne. And Suzanne had her intervention done, her fear removed a little while back. So of course she had good things to say. It's like, this is amazing, you guys should do it. But I don't know if you guys missed it. Like, if you want to see that, you've got to vote for that. We could maybe hold a separate session for it. But yeah, I need to know what you guys want. Otherwise, I will just continue doing these as one-on-ones, which will just get charged. Kathy.
I would like to join on that session. It's just that I'm not too sure about the timing, just because I've got a couple of things at the moment. I've got one more ski race to finish, and after that I'm free. Psychologically, I'm free in my brain.
So obviously, if we're following Kathy's story, then that session has to align with Kathy's time.
But I suppose another thing that is interesting is as I go deeper into the book, maybe we'll do one session after we finish the book. I think that would be great, just because I think everyone would have the time to finish off the book and read up on all the.
That's a good idea as well.
Yeah. So maybe everyone would be like, maybe they have an idea now what to expect. If we do this exercise, what do you reckon? I think I found myself like I'm rereading chapter 3 and chapter 4 at the moment. I'm like, I'm just relearning stuff that I didn't pick up the last time I read it. Like, it's ridiculous.
Oh, it's so good. Yeah, that happens when you're reading in a group, right? Because you hear different things. You feel more committed. You're seeing it in a different light. Yeah, no, it's great.
Yeah, no, it's good. All right.
Awesome. So we'll see when we can make something like that happen if we want to do it. You guys will have to let me know. So make sure when you see me post things and you want that thing to happen, you've got to make some noise. Like things don't magically happen. Like there's only limited time on where I spend my time. So if you want certain things like that's exciting for you, you like show excitement. Or basically show excitement to the things that matters to you that you want me to do. Okay, so this ego thing is this ego exercise is, there's an example here, and it wants you to witness your own ego by beginning to pay attention to your thoughts and stories that you frequently tell yourself, others, and in the world in general. During these times as you like reading this book, like non-judgmentally take note of these type of thoughts that you have throughout the day. You want to write them down. You can share them like in our chat if you like, or you can write them in like a journal or a notebook. But when you start recognizing these stories that are in your head, then you actually know what's in your subconscious mind. And when you start to know this is what gives you a clue for what you need to work on. Because you can stop reacting to the truth. Like you can stop reacting them as if they are the truth. So like, let's say if your thoughts are, I'm an idiot, I'm stupid, no one likes me. Well, that's not true, right? So, but if you know that you were saying this to yourself, then you will respond in the way that these are true, even when they are not. So you want to override these thoughts with like whatever, like floats your boat, right? But like you want to replace these with like, I'm beautiful, like I'm amazing, like, you got to be like your own fan, right? So you want to replace these things with like positive thoughts. I'm not like a very I don't say like, you're beautiful, you're gorgeous, I think you were super sexy. Like, I don't say that to myself. Like, and you probably can tell I don't do that kind of stuff because I don't wear like a lot of like fancy dresses and stuff. So those thoughts aren't naturally in my head. But what the kind of thought that will go through my head is generally like, if someone can do it, you can do it. Right? So when I'm faced with something that like, I think it's hard, it's like, yeah, but if someone can do it, you can do it. Right? So you want to pick up like what are good beliefs, or you want to ask people that you look up to on various things, and like, what do you actually think about? Because you got to find out what's in their head. What picture are they seeing? What do they say to themselves? All right, you want to know that, because when you can extract that from their head, that's when you actually have a strategy. Like that is actually, that's a real gold nugget. That is something you can take and implement in your life, and you will get the same result by thinking that thought. So don't take this lightly. The thoughts in your head is everything. That's why the book Think and Grow Rich. It's like, you think you're poor, you're poor. If you think you're rich, you will be rich. All right. So notice the thoughts that are in your head. And generally you won't know what they are. That's why to do this exercise properly, you want to write them down. So in this example here is like, I'm not good enough. Others aren't trustworthy. The world is unsafe. I am, fill in the blank. Others are, fill in the blank. The world is, fill in the blank. When you think, and to make this super practical, if you guys want to do it in the chat right now, when you think I am, what's the next word? Fill in the blank. Does someone want to type it in chat? I am what? I am courage. I am love. Like, what do you say? That's what I say. Yeah, I'm awesome. I'm capable. Good. Yeah, say that thing. Like, I want right now, when you think I am blank, what is that? Fill that in now. That is your direct thought. That is your immediate thought. You don't even need to observe for the next 7 days. It's just like right now, I am what? I am amazing. I am smart. I am strong. I'm courageous. Great. These are so good, right? That's the kind of thoughts you want to have. So like you want to know this about yourself, right? Others are. Others of what? Others of what? What is that? What do you think? Right now, you can say stuff in here if you want. I don't think in the recording, actually, no one can see the chat. Like, I don't think they can see the chat. But yeah, like if like people think others are an ass, others are mean, others are like whatever, it's like that is exactly how we face the world, because we're like walking in like landmines if we have those thoughts. I'm fearless from Leticia, so that's good. So a lot of you have like a positive I am. Then when you think others are, what do you think? Are others good? Are others helpful? Because I'm sure in general, others are not okay with strangers. Like there's like a skepticism, right? Like others are what? Others are what to you? So if right now you realize you're inserting something negative, then that is actually exactly how you're walking into the world. So if you want opportunities and others to open up to you, think about that. If you have others are that is, let's just say it's a bad word, then how will the world open up to that? You're like, you will not see it, because even when things happen, you're already thinking, yeah, that can't be true, right? Because you're thinking, no, it's a bad deal, right? Like there's no way. So you will miss out on things when this thing is negative. And I'm not saying that like Jill has gone for like, of course Jill has gone for like a smart option, because we know she's a logical thinker. So she's like trying to get by this thing by not actually answering it properly. So she's like, others are not me, but like, that's like a smart response, right? That's a smart ass response. And I know she's smart enough to know what I mean when I say insert that thing. So yeah. So we can tell what Jill is like already by her response. And I'm probably similar to like, I would find something like that too. Like I'm probably that person. But yeah, so if we go in with that, it's kind of the same thing though. So then when we meet someone, it'd be like, if we go in on a thing and we're kind of like always like trying to like be like the smarter one, like that cut through, but like we don't do the thing, then we kind of like never fully involve in the thing. So whatever answer you have, think about what that actually means, like the consequences of that. Because you will see that this is the result you have in your life. I'm seeing some like, yes, I see. Yeah, so the world is what? Is the world a nice world? The world is what? Insert in blank. Funny thing is, nobody's writing anything. So everyone was okay to write, I'm capable, I'm awesome, I'm strong, I'm courageous, I'm amazing, I'm smart, I'm unstoppable, I'm fearless. When it comes to others, no one wrote anything. I think that in itself tells you something. Elaine is like, I'm going to prove her wrong. Just throw it out. The world is great, right? The world is great. Yeah. So the world is great will mean you see great things, right? The world is great to you. So if we have anything else, like the world is scary, the world is like whatever, scary. Yeah, then it's scary. Then it's scary. Then that's why you don't want to take the steps, right? And by the way, Leticia, such a courageous answer. If that makes sense, I'm fearless, right? You've adopted that fearless thing, and I can tell where that is coming from too, because of the work we've done earlier. And this is so good. And I like that you're fearless. You kept that identity. That's awesome. And the world is still scary. Like she's willing to admit the world is still scary, but she's courageous enough to say that. That is huge. Because most people that think that wouldn't say it. And that's why you see the chat being so blank on there. It's okay to be scary. So this is the thing, Leticia. I love that you said it. And I agree with you. Things are scary. I find things scary too. So things are scary, but if you think about what represents scary, like the sensations, when you are scared, what is that? What is the actual feeling that you feel? if you pay close enough attention, it's kind of similar to excitement. Like in terms of like your blood probably pulsing more, like it's like there's like this thing that you want to do, but like you're not sure, but like it could be really good, but you're like not sure. So yeah, possibility. I love Christina's, it's like possibility. So when you feel sensations, I want you to start tying positive things to those sensations as well. So even when things are scary is good. A lot of the times in the world that we live in. Scary is good. Why? Because it's only scary because you're not familiar with it. It's only scary because something you haven't done before. Right? If it's something you've done before, then it wouldn't be scary. It's scary because it's new. And that means you're learning something new. That's growth. So whenever you feel scared, I want you to tie it to growth. I know that there's a situation that you're facing at the moment. So that thing, it's like, it's scary, but it's an empowering story, right? You're going to get through that and it's going to be an empowering story. So trust that things are happening the way it is now for a good reason. Sometimes we need the strong story to stand up. Sometimes we need to feel like we've lost everything to get back up, and it's okay. You're in exactly the right place. All right, with that in mind, we've completely gone over time, but I care for you guys and I wanted to make sure we kind of like get to the meat of what this really means. By all means, read the book, share those lessons, and of course, I didn't get through to all the way to, so that ego bit is in chapter 6. There's a bunch of stuff that I obviously kind of had to skip. What I will do is do something similar to last time. I'm going to do a couple of reels of the really good bits that I found in these chapters. So even if you don't have the book, you kind of watch that reel and like kind of, okay, I get what this is about. And if you want to learn more, I will get the book. All good? All right. I'll catch you guys later. Oh, there's a session that I'm having. If you guys haven't registered, register. It's a financial session. I want you guys to, happy Chinese New Year or Lunar New Year. So this thing is all about prosperity. So because of that, I want us to go towards that way, right? Because that increases options. So if you haven't seen that, make sure you register for that. I will make more noises very soon because it's coming up really soon. All right. Okay, bye. You want more money this year? Good. Let's do it.